AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door pay-per-view is not that far away, and now we kind of have some big details on some major plans for the event, what fans can expect. Also, guys, we got an injury report from NXT, and we got some NWA news. Very interesting stuff. If you guys want more videos like this, go ahead and click subscribe. So really quick, for those who don't know, Tony D'Angelo was just injured, what appears to be a shoulder injury at the most recent NXT live events. For those who didn't know, NXT returned to the Florida Loop. So now they are touring in Florida, specifically doing house shows just to help get more experience. And obviously, that was a very, very big part of NXT's business prior to the pandemic shutting things down. So now Tony D'Angelo has been injured. We don't know exactly all of the details or whatnot, but I've seen a lot of people on social media talk about this, and mostly in a negative light, which I did find to be very interesting. Because a lot of people were saying, oh, you know, these people aren't necessarily experienced. They're just putting themselves in more matches for no reason, getting hurt, things like that. I think social media has become a very big problem with pro wrestling. Right now, the top guys in most companies are hurt or out. Obviously, we saw what happened with Matt Cardona, who relinquished his world title from NWA. Obviously, we saw what happened to Cody Rhodes. We've seen what's happened to Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson. So many people are getting hurt in pro wrestling. It comes with the territory. Obviously, with Tony D'Angelo's situation, hopefully he gets healed up pretty quickly. But I think it's important that NXT does continue to brand, to tour and to do these house shows and do things like this, because it's always been a part of NXT. I know AEW doesn't do house shows. I think AEW has an incredible live atmosphere. I've gone to NXT house shows. They're an incredible atmosphere. But house shows for NXT, especially in Florida, have always been a big part of NXT. It was that way when Sami Zayn and Kevin Steen was there, or Kevin Owens. And it's going to probably be that way for a very, very long time. So again, just a quick little injury update. But my answer to those who are criticizing this, I think it's important that NXT continues to help people getting experience. Injuries come with the territory, and hopefully everybody who's injured heals up rather quickly. Now, with that being said, I want to turn our attention to NWA, because a former WWE superstar has returned to the NWA. Samuel Shaw is always ready. If you guys didn't watch the NWA Always Ready pay-per-view, Matt Cardona relinquished his NWA World's Heavyweight Championship belt, the 10 pounds of gold, and instead there was a fatal four-way match between Nick Aldis, Tom Latimer, and Trevor Murdoch and Samuel Shaw. Now, what was really interesting is before the show went live, there was actually this really weird little promo vignette thing that leaked on Twitter, or posted on Twitter, really. And it was basically confirming the return of Sam Shaw. Now, for those who didn't watch Dexter Lumis in WWE, Dexter Lumis was a more evolved version of Samuel Shaw. And what's really cool is Samuel Shaw I feel like we're starting to see elements of Dexter Lumis with Samuel Shaw. I feel like both characters are so close to each other that they're not really different. NWA, a lot of people ask me, why do I not talk about NWA as much? And here's the thing. With Trevor Murdoch winning the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, that's wonderful, right? But the thing about NWA is they really, really struggled because of the pandemic. And it's not Billy Corgan's fault. I think in terms of logic and storytelling, they know what they're doing. But there is something about the NWA product in such a competitive and saturated industry, it is really hard for them to stand out, in my opinion. That doesn't mean they're a bad product. I do watch it from time to time. I like the product when I watch it, but I'm also not eager to watch it right away, whereas maybe I am with AEW or WWE. However, with that being said, when you look at the NWA and see some of the changes that they've made, I really like the fact that they have a mixture of talent who are known and a mixture of talent who are not known. That is something that is very appealing about NWA. Samuel Shaw is a great pickup for the NWA. Obviously, he has a little bit of history there. Everybody knows Samuel Shaw from TNA Impact. Everybody knows Dexter Lumis from WWE. And again, this is one of those signings. This is one of those people coming in, whether it's short term, per appearance, whatever it may be. This is one of those assets that I think a lot of people will appreciate when watching this show, because with NWA and the way that they do their tapings, obviously studio-based wrestling, I think it works for somebody like Samuel Shaw. I'm actually kind of upset that they didn't go with Samuel Shaw to win the belt. Honestly, it would have been a really cool surprise. With that being said, I think we're going to have a really cool feature between Sam Shaw and the NWA. And I hope NWA, more specifically Billy Corgan, looks at this as a step in the right direction, as in, hey, we're bringing in talent. You know, obviously they don't have the same budget as AEW or WWE, but they're bringing in talent. They're bringing in some notable names, and they're making it work within their system. So instead of NWA trying to be something that they're not, they're doing a really good job of doing what they're doing. At some point, in order to grow massively, it's going to require better TV distribution. It's going to require maybe a different studio. It might require some changes to the overall presentation of NWA. That's always been my concern, is that maybe the nostalgia factor just isn't that good. But at the end of the day, they're really owning in on what they do best, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it is a very competitive market. So good on them for bringing in another signing that is a great signing. Maybe not the result I would have preferred. Obviously, Trevor Murdoch winning 2 times is great, but you know, it would have been a cool opportunity for NWA to say, hey, we brought in Sam Shaw. We're going to make him instantly a big deal. We'll see what happens as time goes on, but for now, it's just the way it is. And our final story of today's video is AEW Forbidden Door. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about AEW in New Japan because of the NJPW Dominion event. So for those who may have missed it, just a couple things that you need to know for plans going into the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. So Hangman Page called out Okada. However, Jay White was the one who became victorious against Okada. So now Switchblade is the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Now, with that being said, because he's the world champion, the belief is that it's going to end up being Hangman Page versus Switchblade at Forbidden Door. Again, nothing absolutely wrong with that. Jay White had a very, very incredible promo at the press conference post-match. Very, very cool stuff. It's floating around on Twitter and social media. So if you are on Twitter, definitely seek it out. A lot of people are talking about it. It was a great promo. He was talking about how he's the reason AEW exists. And hey, Jay White versus Hangman Page could be a really, really massive match. It's going to be an exciting match. Also, Zack Sabre Jr. has challenged Bryan Danielson. So there is this belief that Bryan Danielson will be cleared and ready to go by Forbidden Door. Obviously, AEW losing CM Punk kind of sucks, but CM Punk has been replaced by Jon Moxley, and now we know Tanahashi for sure 1,000% is going into the interim championship match. Now, I would really, really love AEW and New Japan here to build on something special between CM Punk and Tanahashi. So, because we were robbed out of that due to CM Punk's injury, I would like to see Tanahashi actually defeat Jon Moxley. I think a lot of people are torn on this 50-50. It would be really, really cool for New Japan talent to hold the interim championship belt. Tanahashi is the perfect person for this role. And AEW, New Japan, clearly there's not a huge buildup to Forbidden Door. Obviously, it seems like, you know, some small stuff here and there on TV. But for the most part, it looks like this is going to be based on dream matches or big-time matchups. Not my cup of tea, but I'm going to enjoy the pay-per-view because who will not enjoy this pay-per-view, right? We all know Forbidden Door is going to be a banger. Tanahashi beating Jon Moxley could be massive, and then eventually Tanahashi versus CM Punk could be really, really huge as well. With that being said, I also want to point out between Zack Sabre Jr., Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Tanahashi, and then, of course, Jay White versus Hangman Page, those are really the only matches we know about right now, but obviously you have to wonder about Roppongi Vice. You got to wonder about FTR, United Empire, Aussie Open, Will Ospreay, what might be happening there, and we'll find out soon. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.